Well, this is it. The Humminbird unlocked the lake. Well, this time we're dealing with the fourth tournament of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series, and it's on the upper part of the Tennessee River, Lake Chickamauga. Lake Chickamauga, very well known, a super destination for big bass hunters the world over, but it had a little bit different sort of a vibe to it when we started here, a throwback to winter. Right when spring was getting going good.
Yeah, Dayton, Tennessee is in the heart of fishing country. What a great place to be for the Bassmaster Elite Series and a great time to be. So a great lake, a great time of the year, but there's always one bad or tough week in the middle of the great season, and we hit it right on the head. A very odd Chickamauga, but why don't we just get into the Humminbird Unlock the Lake and break it all down, our top 4 finishers from the week at Lake Chickamauga.
Yeah, we've got 60 miles of Lake Chickamauga here on the Tennessee River, about 36,000 acres, but a lot of feeder creeks. You got Sale Creek, Soddy Creek, Possum Creek, and of course the Hiwassee River coming in from the Smoky Mountains to the east.
We really got to see all of Lake Chickamauga play. Above takeoff, up in the river portion that we would consider more river-type fishing, above takeoff in Dayton, Tennessee there. Then we got to see the mid-lake portion, some of those offshore spots like we got to see with Matt Robertson, Daisuke Aoki. We also got to see the Hiwassee River come into play, but the guy who did, out of our top 5, did something a little bit different, really lived on one of those offshore main lake bars, fishing a lipless crankbait all week long and a big swim bait Matt Robertson.
Yeah, Matt Robertson, the second-year guy in the Bassmaster Elite Series, 3-time Classic qualifier from the Kentucky Lake area, and it was said this is the sort of conditions he thrives in up at the other end of the Tennessee River.
April 15th is about the time every single year they start to fill up Lake Chickamauga a little bit. We weren't completely low for winter pool, which is normally 6 to 7 feet low, and we weren't full pool for the summer. We were right in the middle, about 3 feet low. Some of those banks exposed, some of the fish behaviors, Tommy, they really did act like Kentucky Lake. They wanted to be shallow, but they didn't want to be maybe all the way in the creeks. They wanted to be a little close to deep water.
Absolutely. He had to feel pretty confident about what he had unlocked there on Chickamauga because it got him away from the bank, away from a lot of this heavily pressured spots on this famous lake.
And if we go all the way up above the takeoff, like we mentioned, a place that factored, we got to see Mike Huff in 2020 fish some of these more rocky, flat, or straight up and down banks, some of the 45 banks, but then also Brock Mosley, he really invested a lot of time with that bladed jig. And in those flat pockets, early in the morning, you see it's very foggy. And really a consistent week, all 3 days of this event. The final day, the only tough day that he had.
Yeah, 19 pounds, 18, 11, 20 pounds through the first 2 days, and you'd say the final day. But from the first day, he was saying, I really have my doubts as to whether this place is going to hold up.
And this really did set up in his style. It was his wheelhouse with the baits that played, and we thought, could this be the week that Brock Mosley gets his first Bassmaster Elite Series title? He's came close so many times, this being his 5th second-place finish on the Elite Series, his 3rd one to Jason Christie, and we know he's just building a great resume, Tommy. A great resume that when it is capped off with a win, it will be one resume for the record books for sure.
Yeah, Brock Mosley, of course, the leader to start our final day, just ounces ahead of Christie and Aoki, which makes that second place sting even a little bit more. So you got to feel for Brock, but he's a player. He'll be back.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing where he lost the tournament. He just got beat. He had a good, decent bag for the given day. You know, that final day was very tough. Everybody had 12 pounds or so or less except for Jason Christie. So Brock Mosley, great finish, second place. And now we go over to our local guy, one of our 4 locals on Lake Chickamauga, an Elite Series rookie, Jacob Fouts.
Yeah, Jacob Fouts, a former collegiate national champion from Bryan College right there in Dayton, Tennessee, now makes his home in the area on Chickamauga.
Yeah, the Ohio kid came down for college and getting his education and then said, I'm going to just stay and learn a lot more about bass fishing, and Lake Chickamauga is a great place to be. And really, you say Lake Chickamauga, but he could be the Hiwassee kid. He loves this region of Chickamauga. This fits his style, river fishing, shallow spinner baits, bladed jigs, that's what he did. We did get to see him catch a fish on a deep crankbait in this event, but that final day, tough on him, but he knew it's hard to make the Hiwassee River play all 4 days of this event.
Yeah, the first 3 days he was on the proper trajectory. 15-4 on day 1, 17-1 on day 2, and then a come from outside the top 20, 23 pounds and 8 ounces to gain the spot near the top, and almost made it happen, but as you say, just couldn't quite close it on the final day, but also in the Hiwassee, our leader.
Yeah, Jason Christie, coming off of the classic victory in the beginning of March, and then his worst Elite Series finish basically ever, almost last place at Santee Cooper Lakes, then coming here. What Jason Christie were we going to see? Was he motivated? Was he exhausted? Was his tank refueled from all of that stretch in March? And it was. Every day it seemingly got better for him. He got 16 pounds and then another 20-pound bag, a 20-pound bag on day 3. jumping into that final day cut. Tough final day, but better than the rest.
Yeah, Jason Christie, what a wild roller coaster ride he had been on over the previous 4 weeks. Just incredible, incredible stuff from the top to the bottom and back up to the heights again.
One big thing that he used this week was his patented spinnerbait, a big Colorado bladed spinnerbait. That's what he goes to. That final day, though, he really employed a bladed jig very well. He noticed a key little adjustment. Fish that were up on the bank the first couple days with the windier, cloudier conditions, when it got slick and got sunny on the final day, a lot of his bites bit near the boat, or at least halfway back off of cover. Those fish pulled away from the cover and kind of just got out there in the middle of no man's land, and Christie picked them off better than anyone else. And Tommy, this was his 8th Bassmaster Elite Series, or Bassmaster win, his 5th Elite Series title. He is one that is definitely racking up the trophies. Paired it with a classic. Christie is one of the hottest anglers in the sport right now. And absolutely a year to the day since his win upon his return to the Elite Series just a year before at the Sabine River down in Texas. So great stuff from a guy who, well, our associate says that he's going to be remembered as one of the greatest to ever play the game. Certainly did a good job of unlocking the lake.